All right, my friends, this is how to put your journal together. So, you should have a spiral notebook. What you're going to do is open to the first hard page, which is your cover. From there, you're going to take the journal directions page, and we're just going to glue that right in there. You should have a glue stick in your amazing and wonderful black bags. By the way, PTA rocks the house. They got those for you, and I am just so excited that you got them. All right, so journal directions. Da, 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 da. So this tells you how we'd like you to be writing in your journal. Now, if you are a fourth grader, you've probably seen something like this before. It's very, very similar to what you did last year. And I just want you, we'll kind of go over those together. I just want to show you how to kind of glue it and put it together. The next thing is an example of what a paragraph would look like. Now, this won't really fit very well on this side, so this is where you might need scissors. If you don't have scissors, there's this folding thing you could do. You can always fold it so that it fits better. So if I like folded the edges, then I can see that would fit better in there. But I have scissors, so I'm just going to trim the edges real quick like. Don't cut the words off, you'll be sorry. All right, so we are then going to put our kind of sample paragraph. Now, when you're gluing this in, you want to kind of make sure that where it says writing a paragraph kind of looks like it would be the title, because part of your directions is to include a title. So I'm going to make sure that that's up towards the top of my paper. Boop. And then I'm going to, you'll notice that I kind of see where that fits, and I put glue directly on this. Obviously, you could also just put glue on the paper, whatever works best for you. There's different techniques. When you do this gluing, though, you may want to wait to close your journal just so that it doesn't get glued together. If you notice some corners aren't quite down, pull them up, a little bit of glue stick just to make sure they stay, and voila. So that's kind of what the beginning is going to look like. You also have another paper, and this is great for helping when you're writing a narrative, so a story. Like I said, you fourth graders have seen this. It also gives you some transition words that you can use, but we'll be using something like this to help us organize our paragraphs. And then I'm going to teach you how to use the same thing only on a full piece of paper to help you write essays that will be 5 paragraph. Yes, you will be learning how to do that this year. So this doesn't fit, as you can see, not fitting well. So this one, what we're going to do, we're going to go to the back side of that first page. We're actually going to glue it in this way. All right, so everybody sees that. So I then, again, you can put the glue on the paper, on your, however you want to do it. And the nice thing about this is, if you haven't realized, you can pause this video so that if you miss something, or you can go back, watch it again. What did I do? What does that mean? I love videos in that regards. So, boopity-boo. So there you go. So now what we have is our directions for the journal, a sample paragraph, and then one of the tools that we're going to use when we're writing, and this could help right away, because technically you're writing about your summer, and that's a narrative. It's a personal narrative about you. What did you do this summer? So did you get to do anything fun? What was the setting? Or were you home? Who was with you? Was there a problem? Now in this case, this summer was probably a little different for all of us, so maybe there was. And then beginning, middle, end. And just go with the flow. If you want to choose one thing, that's great. If there wasn't just one thing and you want to tell us about more than one thing, that's fine. So again, there's no wrong to this. It's just practicing writing, which is something we all need to do. The last thing that you'll notice, well, not the last thing, but one of the last things is this is an extra kind of journal topics number 1. So this gives you some ideas of things that you could write about if it's a free writing day, or if there, like I said, if there's no prompt. Usually we're not going to be writing every single day in our journal, but for the beginning we wanted you to warm up. So this is something that gives you some ideas. You are welcome if you want to glue it in. You know, I know some of you may have already written on this page. That's going to be up to you. We'll talk about that and where you want to glue that in a minute. Because what I want to show you first is I want you to go back to the very back of your journal now, the end of your journal. And I want you to count 20 pages. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until you get to 20 pages, okay? Because we're going to leave 20 pages blank. So this gives us all of our journal, but here at the very back, we're going to have 20 pages from the back. We're going to put a sticky note here and mark this spot so that it's easy for us to get to it. Now, if you don't have a sticky note, if you have tape, another little option you can do is you get that page. So again, you go to the, oh, my tape is sticking. Of course it is. Oh, I did it. Okay. So again, you're going to go to the very end of the journal. This is the back of the journal, and you're going to count 20 pages in. That's where we're going to have our language arts notes, LA notes. If you have a sticky note, you can put a sticky note there. If you don't have a sticky note, you can take a piece of tape. Let me pull it so you can see it better. But when you fold the tape over, you want to leave a little bit of the tab sticking up. And then when I push the tape together, it's like a sticky note. It's a tab. So if I closed my journal, I could go to that little that piece of tape. Of course, if you have a sticky note, you can do it as well. There's your sticky note page. That will never move. You do not need to write what I wrote on it. That was just so that you know what to do. So when you're watching this video, you know why we have that tab or a sticky note here. So you can use whatever you want to make a little tab there. You can use tape, you could use a sticky note, however you want to do it. So this is going to be a special place where we take notes. So we're not going to write any journal entries in here. If somehow you happen to fill your whole notebook up with journal entries, well, then you'll have done a lot of writing this year. So don't worry. Okay, this is going to be a separate tab that we'll go to at different times when we're doing some whole group learning. So first of all, I wanted to make sure we know how the beginning of our journal is going to look with directions, writing a paragraph, our little helper. It's kind of helping us because a lot of what we're writing to begin with are going to be narratives. Then our tab for the back. So your extra journal topics, what you can do is go to that tab. Oops, I'm not quite to the tab yet. Wherever that tab is, you could always glue this next to it. So it's really at the end of your journal. Sorry, it's at the end of your journal. Then you'll have your notes. So wherever your tab is, that might be a good place to glue this down. And that way, if you have a free write day or something like that, and you want to write on one of these, you'll know where to find it. It'll be right with the tab. Isn't that, whoops, convenient? All right, here we go. So remember, whoops, you will then put that, it will be towards the back of your journal part of your spiral notebook. The very back of your spiral notebook will be where we'll take special notes. We'll write things and talk about different learnings and standards that we're doing in language arts. Okay, so that's basically what your journal is going to look like. You also have a list of 200 words you need to know. It's alphabetized, and these are words that we found that students end up using a lot in their writing and reading, and so we want to make sure you know how to spell them, and you can look at that if there's a word that you think you need to know that might help you spell it. Personally, what I would use this for, you can tell it's laminated, is I would use this kind of like a bookmark for where I am in my journal. Let's say you've written 6 journal entries. Oh, look, my journal already has things in it. Isn't that interesting? So, glad I didn't send this home with one of you. So look, I've got a bunch of journal entries, and it's time to write a new journal entry. Well, if I put this where my last journal entry was, then when I close it, when I need to go back to write a new journal entry, I'll have that kind of as a bookmark. So that's how you want to use that. You want to keep that all together. The other thing that you have is the list of what our topics are. Now I am going to post this in Google Classroom so that if you lose this paper, you will still be able to access what the topic is. But that is a paper that you also have. You may want to keep that, again, with this just for now until we're done with our daily journal writing for the next week and a half. So again, keeping those all together in this will definitely keep it safe. So you want to make sure things are glued down, put together, and hopefully get some writing done. So that's it. Have a good time writing. Enjoy.